Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of The Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan.
This one's gonna rock your socks off.
Come on.
Yeah, that's right. Expectations right out the gate. If we don't woo, we're gonna get booed.
Can you dig it?
Damn straight.
I had no idea that that's what that came from.
Yeah. It's
I think it's probably a number of things. I would
right.
say.
It's like a general phrase
I think so, but
of an era.
But I believe that specifically, I've heard people say it like that.
Right.
With
Can you dig it?
With their hands in the air. I'm like always like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Right.
I had no idea that was the reference.
Yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah, right.
Oh no.
Before we get through the intro of this episode, a few weeks back we had a listener listen to our episode on Kelly's Heroes. Is that what it was? I believe. I could be wrong. Anyways,
Yeah, that was it.
a listener that was like, let me know when you guys do Warriors. And Dylan has the movie.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I mean, I've never heard of Warriors. This sounds fun.
Let's do it.
I thought it was like adjacent to like a war movie. Obviously,
A war of sorts.
Well, but I was thinking of like Hacksaw Ridge type stuff,
Right,
like
right.
what I'm talking, or Kelly's Heroes type
World
thing.
War, perhaps.
Right.
But no.
I've never seen this movie. I've never heard of this movie.
See, that's what surprised me the most. I
Really?
could understand if you've never seen it, but if you've never heard of it,
I've never heard of it, but I believe you've showed me the box art for it before.
right. Whenever I got it the first time,
Right.
I had shown it to you along with like everything else I'd gotten at the time.
Yeah,
So you definitely seen the cover.
of course, right. But I don't think I think I remember references in this show,
Right.
Movie. Sorry, that there are some like key references that I think pull from this, but we watched the movie called The Warriors, and I watched the first few minutes of it, and I was like, oh, we got ourselves an 80s movie. And then as the movie starts to like progress along, I was like, no,
More like this.
no, this is definitely the 70s. And actually, funny enough, it was made in 1979.
Damn.
So right on the cusp.
A prototype.
But I mean, once you really get into the meat and potatoes of this movie, you're like, oh yeah, this is definitely like a 70s, 80s kind of vibe.
It's so good, man.
The filming of it has that sort of old look to it.
Right. You had mentioned the lighting specifically.
There's a look that you don't see very often. And there's a technical term for it, but I won't bore you with all the details. In film terms, especially whenever it's with fluorescent light, which is what they're dealing with in the subway, it just has this kind of like bloom effect around it,
Right.
but it also, the colors are a bit shifted and kind of weird because of the quality of the lenses back in the day, and film and other kinds of weird things
Many factors.
take place. But there's a few shots in the movie where you really see that.
That shit pops.
There's a lot of fluorescent lights, and it's just on that old style camera with the film and everything. And like you're just looking at it like, this looks like an old film.
Yeah.
Which is cool. It has its own vibe.
I wish movies felt like that again.
Yeah.
I can't place it, but
Yeah. It just has an old vibe.
yeah.
It kind of has the same feeling like a Kodak Polaroid. That's what I was looking for. A Polaroid photo has that. Like you can take a modern photo right now of you with a Polaroid, and it just feels like it's in the 80s or 90s.
Right.
It just feels old, even though you're like, I took it right now today,
Present day.
present day. And the funny thing, I don't think you've ever mentioned this on the podcast or not, but my mom got an old or one of those like new like Instax,
Right.
whatever they're called, the like Polaroid cameras you can get, the more modern ones.
Yeah.
And my fiance and I, Mallory, went over to go see my mom one afternoon, and she pulled it out. Was all excited about it. And so there's a photo of Mallory and I on my mom's sofa that she took of us in like her kind of
old as shit.
in her like dimly lit living room a little
Right.
bit. And I have it
like some family photo album material.
whenever I had like the sun guard on my truck that I drive. Whenever it's like folded up, there's like a little like clip you can like put business cards or whatever.
Right.
I have the Polaroid like stuck in there, and Dylan's like, I feel like this is your, what did you call it? You said my fighter pilot,
Right,
or
your fucking your memento.
Yeah, you're like,
This is what I'm going home.
Yeah,
to.
I gotta make
This
it
is what I'm
home.
fighting for.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be in the cockpit of a Gundam ground type.
Exactly.
You were in the 1-year war.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. I just
Yeah.
take my little Polaroid out and go, yeah.
One of these days, your grandson's gonna be asking, "When's that picture from?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
50s? Not the 20s."
No, you really the 2020s.
Oh man.
But anyways, so yeah, this movie kind of feels like that, but also like the wardrobe, and I mean the hairstyles.
Mm-hmm. Impeccable,
dude. The slang.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it
Boppers.
Boppers, dude. Are you stacked, or what is it? Or what did he say?
Everybody packed.
Everybody packed. I love how he's like, oh yeah, he got whacked.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that means he got killed.
man.
Yeah. Anyways, the brief summary of this film that I can give it is that this is like, I'm not sure if this is actual New York in the 1970s, 1980s. This feels like an over exaggerated version of it.
Of course,
but it's like a bunch of like it's gang wars.
right.
It's gang wars.
Hundreds
of gangs
littering New York.
Absolutely pilfered with gangs.
Every quadrant
Yeah.
filled to bursting with gangs.
Has a certain archetype,
Right.
has a clothing choice or
Mhm.
style.
Each one is different. They're like fucking Pokemon antagonist teams.
And I
We
feel
got
like-
the baseball furies.
Oh my god, dude.
The Lizzies.
The Lizzie. Oh man,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Mhm.
I love everyone has a cool name.
Right. The
There was,
AC turnballs.
Dude, there was a bunch of mimes. There was a
Right.
gang.
Oh my God.
I mean,
We didn't even get their names.
dude, and you can't even. Okay, so like the whole. How do you say this?
Mm-hmm.
This film circles around a street gang known as the Warriors,
Right.
and they must
The
fight
Coney Island Warriors.
exactly, and they must fight their way from the Bronx to their home turf in
Mhm.
Coney Island.
They've been framed for murder. you see.
Exactly. Apparently, like the biggest gang had a guy named Cyrus who
Right.
was like
Big
the-
Cyrus.
Big Cyrus.
Tried to bring everybody together
Tried to unify them,
to make one Omega gang.
but then the Fire Nation attacked.
Right. What was that
Yeah.
fucker's name? That little rat.
Bro, I don't even know. I just knew he was the Rogues.
I think it was Luther.
Yeah, his
Can't
name was
remember.
Luther. Yeah, Luther.
Woo. Silly motherfucker just shoots him in the chest and then frames the Warriors.
He's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
you want to talk about actual like chaotic
Right.
evil,
Psychopath.
crazy behavior.
Mm-hmm. Now, then, once they escape, barely, their leader, Klingon, is killed.
And I didn't know he
unfortunately.
was killed. I
yeah.
thought he was like ganged up on and like they like brought him to justice. But I
Oh,
know
yeah, they just beat him to death.
they whacked him off.
Mm-hmm.
Or well, that sounds wrong. They killed him.
Right.
They beat him off. But yeah. So originally, I think the gang was 9, 8,
Right, 9 members.
9 members. He gets whacked, and then they're down to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, are almost. Was he technically the second in command, or did he just take?
He was
charge?
second down the chain.
Okay.
Cleon specified at some point that if something happened to him, Swan
Right.
would take over. And Ajax takes issue with this.
Well, yeah. So obviously, the first chance that he gets, whenever like the potential for him not coming back around,
Mm-hmm.
he kind of steps up to that he takes that mantle on
Right.
and steps up. And I would say he does it in a very natural way.
Yeah.
He's not lording over anyone. There's no power play. He's just like,
He
we gotta
keeps
get
things
back.
in focus.
we got to get back home.
Mhm.
And here's what we're going to do. You have lookout, and we're going to all stick together. I'm going
Right.
to do this. Yeah, again, just doing what I
Meet
what I
up
would
at Union Square.
what I would consider like a good leader doing
Mhm.
at that point, just like laying out the lines, putting down who's where, what's going on, and like let's get into brass tacks. And
Getting
of course,
fail safes and fallbacks.
and our boy Ajax,
Oh boy.
He was a problem throughout the whole film.
Bit standoffish.
And of course, he's like the young gun guy,
Right.
who's always kind of spry and wants to fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Who died and made you the leader?" And everyone's like, "Actually, our leader did."
Yeah, the guy who led us.
Yeah. And of course, because they're gang members, our main man Swan's like, "You wanna tussle?
Do something about it.
You know, right here. Let's go. Let's
Make
go right
your
here,
move
right now." And everyone's like, "Hey, guys, come on,
Take it easy.
Slow
We
it
gotta get
down.
home."
Let's not fight amongst ourselves. We got the coppers everywhere."
Right.
I have a feeling that we're going to be heavy on that accent for a large portion of this episode.
Probably.
I just think it's
Just a little bit. Anyway.
I like it. It's fun.
Right.
I also I like the
silly voices.
yeah, but I think it's also because we're in New York.
New York.
We're in New York. We're a bunch of gangs.
Yeah. Hundreds. One
Yeah.
of the many hundred gangs.
Yeah. The nearly
That's still the funniest part of this
60,000.
movie to me is that there are so many.
There are gangs everywhere. Literally.
Exactly. Lousy with gangs.
Wow, we're fumbling with gangs. Yeah, but I love their, throughout most of the movie, I was making like not in this modern context gang, but I was more so in the classic like 50s and 60s,
like mobsters.
Hey, I'm telling you, I was over here, and I'm over here, and like that kind of stuff. Where I was like
It's how I move.
I'm the hype man.
Right.
And I love it. It's fun. I love a good character.
I picture a tiny man in a striped suit.
Tiny man in a striped suit with a Tommy gun, eh?
Perhaps a cigar.
I was over here, and now I'm over here. I don't know why that's.
You ever
the thing.
taken a train?
Hey, come on, Vinny, listen to me.
You ought to see how these things work.
There's a point in time whenever. Oh, I'm jumping ahead. We'll get to that in a minute. Anyways, so they're trying to fight their way back, and obviously
they run into one gang after another.
The whole conflict of the movie is that
The Riffs, the next largest gang in the city.
Oh yeah. Well, and them, yes, but that obviously, like we said before, they're framed by this kind of madman from the Rogues, and of course and it's interesting because this movie, like I'm saying, plays into it, but obviously there's no playing into it because that was the reality. The term I was going to use was played into the idea of not having cell phones or not being able to communicate very well.
Right.
But that was just the reality
That's just
of
how
it all.
it is.
Obviously, it's like word is spreading through like telephone booth and through mouth and word of mouth and all that kind of stuff. But the interesting like conflict of the movie is obviously like there was supposed to be a truce, and now our guys, the warriors, assume that the truce is no longer in effect.
All bets are off.
And that now that we're like in other people's territory, they're all starting to fight us because,
Got to stay on your toes.
we're in their space. But in actuality, they got basically a bounty on their head from the main man, the second biggest guys in town, who were like, I want the guys who did it
Alive, if possible. If not, I want them dead.
I want them whacked off,
Dude.
or what are they, sacked or
Bopped.
Bopped. I want them bopped. I want them bonked. Bonked on the head.
Right.
So, anyways, so this is the whole like dynamic for the first like half the movie. Is like all the guys are like, "Yo, crazy! I guess this truce is off, whatever." And everyone's like, "We gotta get them.
Right.
We gotta make we gotta stake our claim." But anyways, it's interesting to kind of see how that progresses through.
Yeah.
They don't understand.
We have to talk about the introduction of the leader of the Riffs.
Oh my god! You mean Morpheus?
Yeah.
Is that the guy from The Matrix? Am I right?
Yeah.
I think at one point in time it says Morbius. I was like wrong. I was like wrong character. It's
Right,
Morpheus. He has these like to be honest, I want some the most reflective sunglasses.
Pitch black aviators.
You're right, but like mirror finish on the front,
Just like staring into a void.
just like Morpheus. Not gonna lie, I want some.
Right, of course.
But like he shows up and he's like wearing all black,
Right.
and he just like
Dead silent.
he like stands like an NPC character with like his arms like not fully touching his side,
Right.
and he always talks talks like this. And he's like, his mouth is always moving, like in a super erratic way. And like he just kind of comes across as like stiff and kind of weird.
Stoic.
So
But
anyways.
you know right off the bat he ain't nothing to fuck with.
No.
He's got an entire room full of riffs. And all he does is
You mean
shout.
acolytes?
Yes. He shouts riffs. And they all respond in unison. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Riffs. Frick yeah.
Damn straight.
Yeah. Hell right. They're just screaming.
Exactly.
Riffs. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, they're wild. It's fun.
Right. They get in touch with an anonymous radio hostess who is bumping all the proper tunes to send the right messages.
Listen here, boppers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play you a little song.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
man.
It's a fun time.
I can only assume that's one avenue of travel for information as far as like
I mean,
all the gangs go.
100%. And that's fun. And again, it's
cool.
It's interesting because again, I was fascinated by it because again, you obviously don't see that in films because that's not how the world works anymore.
Right.
The best way to communicate through like a city is not through a disc jockey on a radio station.
Mm-hmm.
Contrary to popular belief, like I think advertisers on radio keep trying to, or people on radio stations keep saying, "Oh, it's the best place to advertise." No, it ain't.
Yeah.
No one listens to radio. I mean, maybe they do. I don't want to say nobody.
Right.
Anybody in my age range,
Hooks their own tunes up.
30s to 20s nowadays. Why would you? I mean, I would even wager that like Sirius XM, I wouldn't even consider that kind of radio, even though it technically is. I'm talking about like FM radio.
Oh yeah.
Some people still listen to that, but like,
They got some. I don't know. Besides the like ads, they have some good stations. But
they do. But for me, I can't.
I'll listen to the radio if I'm feeling adventurous.
On a bad day, I've got a 15-minute commute to work,
Mm-hmm.
and if 10 minutes worth of advertisements, no. I pay for Spotify Premium.
Right. I'm gonna use Spotify Premium.
Spotify Premium. This is not, well, I can make this a plug about this podcast, but YouTube has a podcast feature now.
Right.
I also have Spotify Premium so I can get podcasts for free.
Mm-hmm.
Spotify Premium has audiobooks now.
Yeah.
Why would I ever sit here and
It's
listen?
got it all.
Why would I sit here and listen to nearly 10 minutes worth of advertisements for things that I will 100% not follow up on?
Right. No.
When I can just pull up YouTube and
Ain't
listen to a podcast at Hindsight Studios, or
Right.
or I can listen to any music that I want.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's how the world works.
Right.
The world works differently now.
Mhm.
If you want to get information across, probably the best way to do that, guys, now is a TikTok
Oh God.
to reach 5 billion people in 20 minutes.
Ugh.
20 bajillion people across the globe with your stupid dance and get your point across.
Right.
Hitting the gritty going, I need help. Whoa.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways. So anyways, it's interesting to see how different, gosh, how long ago would that be? 90, 2000,
Mm-hmm.
40, 39 years,
Jesus.
41 years, something like that. Math, I think it's 41.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm. The passage of time is blah, 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 convoluted. And
And
Orlando.
Dude, it's crazy that that's 40 years ago.
Ugh. Don't remind me.
I'm not gonna lie though, whenever the Warriors showed up though, and they all had matching like red
Dude.
leather jackets with the Warriors logo on the back,
The most
like a biker gang.
styling and profiling.
I was like, I so badly want a leather jacket that just says the Tunnel Snakes.
Right.
I just want to, hey, I'm the Tunnel Snakes.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody has played Fallout 3, you would understand that reference. And if you do, then I got you. Give me a good thumbs up. Give me a little winky emoji, if you know what I mean.
God.
Or a snake emoji. There you go. Give me a little snake emoji for, the tunnel snakes.
Tunnel snakes forever.
Yeah. But yeah, I want a leather jacket with a cool logo on the
Some
back.
sort of embroidery.
Yeah. We need to make one for the podcast.
I want one that says, "Where's the fights?"
Where's the fight? Do fight, yeah.
Yeah.
I want one with a little mushroom cloud on the back of it that just says like I don't know.
Boom.
Boom. The Boom Gang.
Kaboom, perhaps.
Kaboom. Yeah, I like a good kaboom.
Volatile.
It's fun stuff. I enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun. It was wacky. I think at times here's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I loved the implementation of the comic book element.
Oh, yeah.
Like the transitions where like the camera would freeze and then would shift over into like a comic book kind of coloring, and then would zoom out from one panel to the next, and that was like its transition points.
Right.
And it made it feel much more exaggerated. And that's why I made the joke earlier about the fact that like I don't believe this is real New York.
Yeah.
Partially because again it feels like it's a comic book that we're kind of
Right.
paying attention to.
My favorite one of those is whenever it just says they escape, but holy shit, with like 3 exclamation points.
Right.
And it just says the baseball fury.
No way.
And these dudes look whack.
Wild.
They are an entire gang made up of dudes in baseball uniforms.
And they don't speak.
They got face paint, the bats, and the caps. And that's it.
Yep.
I easily my least favorite.
Well, it doesn't help like the leader of that gang like kind of had like a
Jim Carrey's The Mask type
yeah
feel.
I was gonna say you're right, but like the mask was green. He was like
almost like a yellow.
He was yellow, but not yellow enough. So he definitely looked like he had jaundice, and he was running around with like black lipstick and a black circle around his eye. So he just looked like a weird, sickly Manson, where he just like
a sickly Manson.
Where he just looks like and you're like,
Damn.
oh man, you're looking scary.
A Manson is now a genre of person.
You know what I mean. Anyways, it is an action like thriller kind of movie.
Oh yeah, they got a lot of fights.
But and may I say,
fairly well choreographed, if I may say.
Again, this movie is obviously made in a time way before our own. But like the stunt work, the choreography, on numerous occasions, there was a couple of times where a few punches looked a little bit more thrown than others, but a couple times where like the cameras placed just right, and the actors would swing just right, and the stuntmen would like do flips and stuff. It was a handful of times where both Dylan and I went, ooh,
that fucking hurt.
Because it felt good. It felt good, like
that shit hurted.
Yeah, there's a couple of times where one of the main characters like hits a guy across the face, and he does like a
midair like pirouette.
Yeah, like the little woo, like as he falls down on the ground. You're like, damn.
Just add some cartoon sound effects.
A few times they get thrown into a door and it just shatters. And you're
right.
Like, hell yeah, dude. This is fun.
These are the strongest street gangs known to man.
There's a couple times. There was one fight where like guy had like a chain around the other dude's neck and flips him over his shoulder. And I was like, hell yeah, dude.
That man is dead.
Yeah, that man
broke his neck.
Yeah. He's hurt bad.
Big yawn.
Sorry, had a big yawn.
It's that time of
I mean,
evening.
You what? Morning?
Who knows?
Who knows? You will never guess.
Right. Could you imagine? We do a fucking early morning podcast.
I don't think
Jesus Christ.
I don't think I could ever.
That's when the world's gonna fucking end.
We could try.
No. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That ain't happening.
But yeah.
Shit, but breakfast though.
Man.
Dude, pancakes
and podcasts.
Waffles. Oh.
There you go.
Blueberry muffins.
Get out.
Okay. Maybe.
I love how
a little bit.
I love how Dylan was a hard no until he convinced himself.
See, that's how you gotta.
Dylan's like, nope, not gonna happen. And then he also says,
breakfast.
but wait a second, hear me out.
We can make a meal out of it.
I'm not saying nothing. He's like, no, wait a second, buddy, chill out.
Right.
I don't want to
back down, the heel turn.
But hear me out. What if we had breakfast?
Yeah, I may change my tone.
A few eggs,
scrambled,
scrambled,
sunny side up,
toast with jam.
Oh, dude, jam.
Yeah.
Uncrustables.
No, well,
Haven't had those things in forever.
you had me, then you lost me.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
What you got against Uncrustables?
I would rather just make my own peanut butter and jelly sandwich at that point.
Oh.
I'm very
See.
particular about my peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm not gonna do some frozen white bread. No, it's gotta be wheat. It's gotta be good jam. You gotta toast both the breads, jam both breads.
Okay.
And you gotta put a healthy amount of peanut butter right in the middle. It's
A dollop.
It's a good amount. It's a good sandwich.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anyways.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Anyway.
And a nice cup of tea.
Oh,
You know how it is.
man.
What a fun time.
Nothing
yeah.
like it.
So back onto this.
Yeah, back to
film.
the movie.
There was there's a bunch of I love how each of the characters is kind of unique and different, even though not a lot of them, like we don't get like a full detailed background of a lot of the characters. They're each kind of fun and unique and have their own, clever ploys to,
Quakes.
who they are and what they're doing, their prerogatives. I love I can't remember the guy's name. He looked younger.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, what was his name?
Can't remember his name. He was one of like the younger members. It seemed like,
Right.
or he came across as like a younger guy as opposed to some of the other ones.
Right. Had a good head on his shoulders.
And there's that one scene with all the Lizzies or the girls.
Yeah.
They, I kind of had a feeling they weren't gonna be
not on the level.
Nah,
Too good to be true.
right. And of course it's a whole gang full of girls, and they're talking up some of the remaining members of the Warriors, and they're all being all nice and all lovey dovey and touchy and stuff. And two of the guys are like, "Hey man, relax. We just got here. Come on."
Yeah.
And the guys and you can just tell visibly he's on edge. He's like, I don't know.
He ain't having it.
I don't know.
Right. We got to get that fuck out of here.
Gotta get back, because what if
everybody's waiting on us?
What if the gang shows up at? I almost said the wrong station. I forgot what it's
Union
called.
Square.
Union Square. Almost said
And we
Grand
ain't
Central
there.
Station. At Union Square. What if we're not there? And I love that. Obviously, he's on edge. They lock the door.
Right. And that's when he knows.
Exactly.
It's like, all right.
The jig is up.
We got to get the fuck out of here.
The jig is up. They start pulling out knives and they pull out guns and they start. I mean, those girls start blasting.
Oh yeah,
they can't aim
One of
for
them pulls
shit.
out the revolver.
Yeah, they had two guns and they were blasting holes in the wall and they can't hit nothing. I was like, damn,
Miraculous dodges.
But our young guy I keep talking about, got his arm cut.
Yep.
And I was like, and the gall of these other two guys, they're like, we gotta
hold ourselves.
together. We gotta stay focused. And I'm like,
oh really?
And the young guy didn't say anything, but as his character was like, you got a lot of knife there, buddy. I'm over here trying to keep you guys held together.
I took a blade in the arm for you.
Yeah, I got cut because of you, bunch of idiots. Because you're thinking with your cocks. It's not what you had. Anyways, so it was a fun little altercation where he's like, all cut up and stuff.
Right.
And just a little scrape. Just a little scrape. But anyways.
They make it out all right.
They make it out. It's fine. But I just thought it was funny. They're like, we got to hold ourselves together. I was like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Oh, really?
What do you think I was doing back there while you were fiddling around for 30 minutes?
Oh, man.
Yeah. They got some nerve telling me to keep it together.
Right. The balls.
The gall of some folk. Damn. But anyways, it's a fun film. And I had a lot of fun watching it. It was kind of wacky.
Definitely worth a watch.
So how did you hear? Or have you watched this movie before?
It had been a while since I had seen this, but I have seen it before.
Really? Okay.
I couldn't tell you exactly when or where, but I mean, it's been a few years at least.
I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
There was a couple of times where I think even you were kind of surprised by some of the things we were seeing in that film.
Exactly. I forgot.
I forgot about it.
How dare I?
Yeah.
It It's such a fun movie, dude.
It's wacky.
Mhm.
That's the part that I was saying earlier about it, is that because it has like this kind of comic book feel and it feels like over exaggerated and kind of wacky, but it still feels kind of down to earth in its own way.
Mhm.
It is an action thriller movie where there's fights and there's all kind of stuff.
Right. Drama.
But in the same regard, it also has a little bit of funniness to it
Mhm.
because of how outlandish it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's charming. I love it.
Holds up real nice.
And then we end up kind of like, I would say like a quarter into the movie. We find this girl.
Oh, yeah. In the orphans territory.
In orphans territory. And at first she kind of acts like a butthole to our main man.
Right. Just looking for trouble.
Just looking for trouble. And it's like, that's fine. I mean,
This quadrant of New York is so damn boring.
To be honest, you're kind of shacking up with thugs. So the fact that you're a little rough around the edges is not shocking. You know? But in the same way, you know, she ends up kind of like almost joining the gang in a way.
Right.
Through
hitchhiking.
Yeah, exactly. Hitchhiking with them and stuff. And our guy Swan kind of I mean, he's
just can't get rid of her.
No. And I get it. She's at least a little useful.
Right.
The thing that's crazy though, he says some shit to her.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you go back to whatever hole you came out of?
Like, damn.
Well, or he says something to the tune of that. I don't think he says it exactly.
Right. You're just a part of everything that's happened tonight, and it's all bad.
What a line.
Yeah. Wrench.
Why don't you go back to whatever place you came out of?
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, she ends up sticking around. She ends up fighting.
Right. After that, somehow, still coming back.
Right. So yeah. She ends up kind of being a vital part of the team for a while.
Helps out a little bit.
Yeah. And then of course in a true comic book / fairy tale ending, they end up making it back home.
Right.
Making it back to Coney Island.
But not before.
Right.
Dealing with the rogues.
Yep. Come back around.
In their graffitied up car.
Yeah.
They are they've been stalking them like the whole night after their run-ins with each and every gang. They lose some people. One gets run over by a train. The other gets caught by the cops.
Oh yeah. Ajax gets caught by the cops because again he's also thinking with his other head. I didn't know that I couldn't remember which gang member it was that got killed by the train, but like he gets thrown overboard.
Right, in a tussle with one of the officers.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. Because, I mean, you see it coming down the tunnel, and you're like, oh,
right.
Fuck, somebody's going to get run over.
Yeah. I was trying to see who was who and all that kind of stuff, but the problem is that it's a bunch of modern photos of the characters, and I can't really tell who's who in some of these photos.
Right.
But anyways, I'll figure it out later.
Right. No big deal.
But anyways, they end up fighting the rogues at the beach a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Luther, the main guy, I mean,
At first, like, he's just sitting in the passenger seat with these 3 bottles.
Yeah.
Just clinking them together with the chant.
Yeah. Come on, Warriors.
Come out to play.
Yeah.
And it is the most psycho shit you can imagine.
Because then he starts like laughing at one point in time.
Yeah,
he just gets
he's
more
insane. He's crazy.
He's wild.
And he loves it.
Yeah.
I love how whenever they're on the beach and he asks him, so why'd you do it? Why'd you kill Cyrus? And he's like, no reason. Because I just like doing stuff like that.
I'm like, okay.
Like,
bud.
wow. Okay.
Yep.
So
you're crazy.
Right.
So you're a psychopath.
Mm-hmm. Pulls out the gat.
You're dead.
You all know it. All of you. You're dead. And so our buddy Swan pulls out his little switchblade, hooks it at his arm fast enough to where it just is stuck in there.
Hell yeah.
Knocks the gun out of his hand, and he is distraught. On his knees now.
Yeah.
Crying out in pain.
crying, "Please help me."
One of my favorite parts is whenever Swan just walks up to him, yanks the knife out, and uses his hair to wipe the blade off.
Right.
Oh, man.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. Insult to injury.
Right.
A classic example.
This whole altercation takes place over the course of one night.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's interesting.
The
longest night. And it's interesting to see, like, the progression of this movie throughout the timeline. Because, like, as the movie progresses, not only have they, like, been running for a long time, but they also have gotten, like, a couple of physical altercations. And it's also, like, probably at that point in time, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right, in the wee hours.
And, of course, like, they're all just, like, tired and they're dirty. And they're just, like, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time they make it back to Coney Island and make it to the beach, and, of course, during that last altercation, it's, like, sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all just like,
yeah, one last go.
Yeah, I guess we'll do it.
Show them what's what.
Right.
And they do.
Right.
As soon as Luther goes down, the riffs appear.
Yeah.
And
shades and all dressed in black.
Riffs.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
And they immediately descend on the beach, and there's hundreds of them, it looks like.
It's a crowd.
Mm-hmm.
And another kudos to the film. Another impressive thing. You want to talk about because the kind of movie that it is, because of the time frame, you can't just you probably could CG in a bunch of crowd people, but that is definitely not what happened during that first the whole thing in the Bronx or whatever, the whole meeting that was going on.
Right. Giant crowd.
At least 200 to 250 people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all running around with police officers. All I'm like, that's wild to think that there was a cast and a crew that made that whole altercation happen, and it was filmed very well.
Oh yeah,
looks very cool.
Indeed. The best part, of course, you always love the setup of the villain divulging their plan and outing themselves in front of people that it actually matters.
Yeah, just monologuing.
Right. It's okay, great. Now, just say, divulge everything. Why don't you real quick, since you've clearly got me on my knees.
Go ahead and tell me the whole master plan.
Right. And everybody hears it. And this motherfucker, this psychopath, has the gall to deny it and still pin the blame on them.
Yeah.
After he just admitted to it and was like, I did it for fun.
Yep.
And man, that scene where he just lets them go. It's the Warriors are good. Real good.
Real good.
And Swan replies with the best.
Right.
And he's just like, all right, the rest is ours.
Yep.
And man, they obliterate them. Right.
He parts the crowd.
Yeah.
All of the Warriors walk out from the crowd, and then you just hear, no, and then just start, I would imagine just eviscerating him.
Oh yeah.
Killing that man.
Just rewards.
Right. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a fun movie.
Oh yeah, definitely worth a watch.
Wacky, in its own
zany,
fun,
even
in its own fun right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I got a few fun facts here.
Well, do you know?
Yeah, the guy that played Luther said that the "come out and play" taunt is based on an intimidating neighbor that he had.
Really?
Once upon a time. Yeah.
Wow. That's
the
funny.
original poster featured the words, "These are the armies of the night."
Damn.
They are 1,000 strong. They outnumber the cops 5 to 1.
Oh my
They
God.
could run New York City. This upset and outraged many people. Some tried to have the film banned because of it.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. That's crazy.
Sol Yorick wrote the original book as a rebuttal to the romanticized view of street gangs presented in
The Outsiders.
West Side Story.
Oh, yeah. That makes more sense.
Based on his experience as a
I
New
didn't think
York,
about The Outsiders wasn't very romanticized.
based on his experience as a New York City welfare department worker.
Wow.
Let's see. Vermin was scripted to be killed by the Lizzies,
Oh, damn.
but Terry Mikos,
Mm-hmm.
who played Vermin, made his character more comical and thus more memorable.
Oh, I see.
The ploy worked, and the death scene was taken out because of it. I thought this character was too good to get rid of.
Got to be a fan favorite if you want to survive out in these mean streets.
Yep. In the subway, where Mercy, who is the girl, is running with Fox's double, she fell and broke her wrist because the actor didn't let go of her hand.
Oh, no.
This is why she later appeared in a jacket as it was covering up her cast that she had. What?
I stole it. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
You broke your wrist and now you got to hide it.
The filmmakers had Mercy disappear from the film for a while, meeting up with the Warriors at the subway platform and saying that she stole the jacket she was wearing before she arrived there.
Wow.
Claiming that the police officers knew what she was wearing beforehand. And,
That's hilarious.
And so she had to have a disguise. What a fun kind of turn of events.
Damn.
Wow,
Got to
that's
cover
cool.
it up somehow.
I mean, hey, you had me,
works.
man. It tricked me.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow. I can't imagine doing that. God, I bet that hurt. The worst I've ever done is sprain my wrist. I can't imagine breaking the damn thing.
I don't know. For the last shot in the film where the vindicated warriors and Mercy walk away along the Coney Island shoreline as the sun rises, Michael Beck and Deborah von Winkelbrough were not told when to stop walking.
They just kept going.
And Deborah became irritated because they noticed that they had reached a point where they were out of the camera's range. But when they went back, they found out that the cast and crew had done this so they could bring out a huge bouquet of roses, which they were presented to as a surprise for her. As well.
Sorry about your wrist. Here's some roses.
Here you go.
Would you like me to sign your cast?
Yeah.
From the cast.
Yep. The mass meeting scene in which Cyrus is killed was loosely based on a real event in December of 1971, in which a member of the Ghetto Brothers, Black Benji, was shot and killed during a meeting in which he was trying to negotiate peace between several Bronx and Brooklyn gangs.
Damn.
He was known for his vastly different approach to gang violence, preferring to negotiate peace instead of declaring war on rival gangs. His murder did not incite retaliation, but only furthered peace talks between the offenders and other gangs. The peace talks unified rival gang members, to the point that peaceful block parties were held to dissolve turf boundaries.
Damn.
Block parties were also a pivotal moment in the evolution of hip-hop music.
How about that?
Yeah. How nice.
Classic.
What a nice outcome for something that could be very dreadful and terrible.
Could have gone a lot worse.
Though it wasn't fully filmed, Cleon was killed.
Mm-hmm.
So
Unfortunately, that motherfucker had some moves.
He was cool.
He was tearing shit up for a while.
Yeah.
Man, that beginning monologue in the film where he's just pep talking all his boys, making sure they're on the level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, okay. I'm just reading.
That's about it.
No, I'm reading some of these. Some of these are like, I mean,
I
they're
see,
a little
I see.
more. I haven't looked at these beforehand, so I'm summarizing some of these.
He's a fish out of water.
Most times I've done this before in the past, where I'll read some of these, and some of these are kind of not super interesting, or just kind of like whatever.
Only the A material.
Right, or the funny ones, the ones I think are interesting enough.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's that for those little things.
Fun facts concluded.
Right. So yeah. There is I was trying to figure out what was the name of the character that died on that by the train.
Yeah.
And I think I see who it is out of the cast photos I'm looking at here.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Yeah.
Was his name Train? Trane.
I hope not. I'm just looking back at some of these photos too, and I'm like, man, what an interesting look for this. I mean, it is. Now that I'm like looking at it, like outside of the film.
Oh yeah. A rogues gallery, if ever there was one.
It just has that
literal
look.
Gallery of rogues.
Literally. I think it was this character that got hit by the train.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. Because I don't think we saw him after the fact again in that last lineup of like the 6 guys that were left. So
Dwindled
down
to a handful.
9 to 6.
Oh.
So yeah. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to touch on anything else on this movie, this beautiful film?
It feels like a comfy old pillow.
Yeah.
That you've had for years.
I get that.
Yeah. That's about one of the few ways I could describe it, at least as far as how watching it for me feels.
Yeah. It's interesting that I've never heard of this film, which is, and that's happened a lot on this show. That's the whole reason why we do this show is because there's a lot of movies that you have watched, especially a lot of things from like the 70s and 80s.
Right.
My mom used to watch a lot of like 70s or 60s and 70s television.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of like
MASH.
Television. Yeah, MASH and a whole bunch of other. She used to love Chips, like the original Chips show. And like, so there's a whole bunch of shows that like I've watched from that time period that are classics.
Right.
But when it comes to movies, I never really saw a bunch. So that's the whole reason why this show is, this whole podcast is a thing. Because moments like this, where there is this classic Jim from the 70s/80s, and it's a fun little wacky movie that is so of its time.
Yeah.
And it does a fun job, and I appreciate it. And I appreciate you, listener, for throwing this out there, because I feel like it's part of Dylan's collection, but sometimes it's nice to hear from other people out there to go like, hey,
recommendation.
what do you guys think about this one? So yeah,
it helps because sometimes I got trouble choosing.
Right. Well, I mean, hey,
we're going down the list.
And especially now,
surely.
We've got over 200-something episodes of like different movies of all varieties and flavors. Some good, some bad,
right?
Some indifferent. So, anyways, it's fun. It's fun to have some other people kind of chip in and let us know what they think.
And we will continue until your eyes are found lacking no longer.
But yeah, before we wrap up this show, though, I do want to say a few things.
Oh. A moment of silence, perhaps?
No. Well, I mean, we can. A moment of silence for all of our soldiers out there that have fallen.
It didn't make the cut.
It didn't make the cut. For Helldivers.
Oh, God. Sweet liberty.
I have fallen hard for Helldivers. Dove. I have dove.
I doved real hard.
I'm telling you, man. I had a feeling I was going to enjoy it, but I was letting it simmer a little bit.
Right.
I had no doubts that it was going to be a fun game.
Yeah.
There's memes everywhere.
Oh God. Yeah.
I got hit with the propaganda hard, where I knew I had to
and
go.
It worked.
I had to do my part. I had to join
today.
my fellow citizens and I had to enlist.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be a hell diver.
Right. Fight a bunch of bugs and robots.
For the spread of controlled democracy.
Right.
For liberty and freedom.
Mm-hmm.
And it just
works.
It just works. And I love that.
It's so fun.
It's such a simple game, but it is complex in all the right ways.
Mm-hmm.
It
it's
is
all those marks.
Right, where it is not a complicated game loop. And it is also not boring.
Mm-hmm. Enough variety to spice things up.
And it feels so much like a couple of other, like the 4-player co-op mission-based games.
Right. Ethan compared it to Deep Rock Galactic.
I was just about to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It has a very similar vibe to Deep Rock Galactic, but in its own way, it's unique and does its own thing, and it's fun. And it just works. And I think that's awesome. And I have been looking for... I'm going to go ahead and be transparent with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Oh, shit.
I
can't see him. Where'd he go?
Gotcha, bitch. I have not fully I guess for lack of a better term, I have not fully dove into Warhammer 40K. But I know like the surface level stuff. I know some of the lore. I know some of the characters. I know factions. The general vibe of it. I've played, what was it? War.
Dawn of War.
Dawn of War. Mm-hmm. I've played. I keep wanting to say Age of War, Age of Empire, whatever. Dawn of War, the first one.
Right.
The real time strategy game, 40K.
Mm-hmm.
It was so fun.
Oh yeah.
But obviously it's old and it's got problems. We modded it and a whole bunch of other connectivity issues to it and all that kind of stuff. And the modern ones are not nearly as good.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And one thing I realized is I love the just fully devoted archetype.
Yeah, like humanity first.
Just the super devoted individual to the cause.
Yeah.
I think
zealotry, perhaps.
Right. I just think it's so hilarious. I just think it's so funny, and for some reason it just gets me going.
Yeah.
Whenever the Space Marines are like, everything that is not
a human
is not blank is heresy.
Filth.
You are a heretic.
Right. Not worth but the dirt on my below my heel.
If a single doubting thought crosses your mind, you are
dead,
tainted
on the spot.
And I love that. Like, I can't remember who the artist is that makes the animations that did those crazy, beautiful like CGI animations, those kind of brief clips, the Astartes products, whatever it is. So beautiful. Mm-hmm. But I love the fact that those the white helmet guys end up showing up. Yeah. And this random techno mage or whatever,
right? The tech priest.
The tech priest sees something, and he for a moment it flashes his face, and he's like, ah, and he sees something or gets tainted, and then without a doubt the
dude grabs him by the head and punches
his head off, and then the second guy
one just shoots.
It just started blasting his corpse. And it happens in an instant.
Right.
I mean, second. I mean, the second heresy is found, it is squelched.
Oh yeah,
I'm like,
big squelch.
It's so funny because it's so wild and it's crazy, and I love it. I think it's funny.
Yeah,
and there's a few terms like that in Helldivers 2. The Helldivers universe is not quite as crazy as Astartes or as the Imperium of Mankind.
Right. It's definitely crazy, just
definitely
not
crazy,
quite as extravagant.
And I can't remember. I heard it the other day. Mm-hmm. In your ship, they have the TV that has infomercials and stuff, and it basically the line that is said that that really hammers that point across, that has that same vibe as 40K does, is that, and the whole commercial happens, and then it says like, and remember, questioning is doubt, and doubt is heresy, or and I don't think it says heresy, and doubt is
unpatriotic,
I can't remember what it says. It frustrates me because it's that same thing where it's like, and blank is blank, and that is a sin against our humanity,
right? Our way of life,
and it's like, damn,
pretty cut and dry,
right. And remember, and if someone's not having very patriotic thoughts, make sure to report them immediately to your democracy officer.
Right.
There's a democracy officer.
Oh man,
I love it. I just think it's funny. I think it's funny, and I love the idea of it, and this kind of crazy like super Earth, and we're all
super Earth. That's
super
my
Earth.
favorite
It's
part.
so great.
Not quite on the level of regular Earth. It's cut above.
No.
It's super Earth.
It's super Earth. Do your part.
Mm-hmm.
I think another infomercial's like, and those bugs, all they want to do is just make your planet a liquefied whatever.
Right. Like the invaders from Gunbuster.
Right.
Those motherfuckers eat planets.
Yes. And I think at the very end of the infomercial, it's like, and let's show them what every man, woman, and child over the age of 7 can do to make a difference.
I love that they specify.
I know, and I was like,
let alone even include children.
Yeah, can do to make a difference. And I was like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that is that.
Measures are indeed desperate.
And I think that's hilarious. I think it's funny, and it gets the point across of like, hoorah!
Yeah,
stand up and fight for your freedom.
Because on one hand, the way it works, I'm like, oh geez, but on the other hand, I'm like, fuck yeah, super Earth.
But it also feels like we talked about this before. Like the one thing to unify all of humanity will be an outside source.
Oh yeah, of course.
And
the first common enemy we happen upon, that's our ticket.
The fact that in this pseudo future, there is a race of bugs overtaking planets, and there is a group of Terminator-style robots that
bent on our destruction,
and we're all unified underneath this gung-ho democracy spreading, liberating justice,
quote unquote.
Yeah. Now, obviously, it's corrupt in its own way. I think, obviously, it's got its own problems and flaws, but I think I love the vibe. Makes me laugh.
Mm-hmm. It's total like Starship Troopers parody. It's perfect.
100%. And the funny thing is, especially now that I've been playing this, I really want to watch Starship Troopers again.
Oh, we will,
because it's been long.
Would you like to know more?
It's been a long time since I've watched that, but it 100% feels like that.
Yeah, it's good.
Because wasn't that a phrase in Starship Trooper was "do your part"?
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. Okay, same thing. Mm-hmm. I'm doing my part. Right. What about you? And I think that's great.
I'm from Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all.
Man,
oh man,
how fun!
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I brought up Helldivers is, like I said before, I probably about 2 weeks ago at this point, I purchased it, but hadn't really
like dug in deep.
Right.
But no longer. We're in the groove.
I joined the game and just launched it one night, and I did the unthinkable.
Yeah.
I was so nervous because the automatons were hyped so much in my mind as like this force to be reckoned with.
Right.
and everyone always knows about the bugs, the terminids, all that kind of stuff. So everyone I've always viewed stuff for that was always them fighting the bugs. So it felt easy to go that way, and I was like, nah. So I went ahead and just like started an automaton mission, and I didn't know how the game worked, and I just like dropped right into the enemy.
Oh yeah.
So I like my hell pod, the lid pops off, and it falls down, and bruh,
immediately
I am
beset upon,
surrounded. But at that point, they didn't really know where I think it was still like a patrol happening. But I could hear like that.
Oh yeah, their march,
like the whole march sounds they got going on. They're kind of chant or whatever it is they got going.
Something or the other.
And they're like red eyes just over the horizon.
Oh yeah.
It was late at night. I was by myself on the map, and it was like mostly daytime in the map. But dude, I was like, what have I gotten myself into?
Oh yeah, get ready.
Because at that point in time, they started noticing me and closing in fast.
Oh yeah.
I was lucky enough that I want to say I found one of those like HMG installations.
And just started letting loose.
And so I start firing at the horizon, and some of them are in the trees. So I just start shooting in the trees. Right. And I'm like, oh my god, the sounds are everywhere. Their eyes, I can feel them all over me. And then I jumped over a barrier and like fell kind of into a ditch. And then I like turned to my left, and there's this huge gun installation. I was like, yes,
saved,
yes. So I hop into this turret and was like, right. And so
down.
Exactly. I wiped out the thing, the whole party.
Right.
And then I didn't know what to do next.
Yeah.
So then I just kind of panicked because I was like, okay, so
I have to find more bots to kill.
Well, originally that's what I thought. I was like, okay, I should have to kill more.
And that will get me out of here.
Right. That's doing my part, is killing the bots.
I'm doing it.
But then I looked at like the objectives, and I was like, okay, so the objective says I have to go to this like station, which I kind of dropped pretty close to. Then I have to go like reorient these pumps or something.
Right.
And I was like, I had no idea what I was doing. So I was like, I'm like punching the keyboard on this terminal, and I hear more robots everywhere.
DVR going.
Like, exactly. I hear another patrol of robots walking around, and I panic. I'm like, because I'm trying to there's like a little mini game where like you're trying to like reorganize like where the flow goes for these pipes or whatever, and I couldn't get it to work right.
Oh no!
And so I was like,
come on!
And of course I stopped.
They're getting closer.
Exactly. I hear them, and of course they end up noticing me. So I hear like bolts start flying in my direction. So I'm like, I had to stop it, and it was wild.
I'm reminded of that one scene from Terminator in the future.
Yeah.
Where they're just getting their shit rocked by Skynet.
Right.
Oh, man.
It's crazy. It felt like it.
Yeah.
Really fighting the automatons, and at least for that first few matches, I was like, I feel
like John Connor.
Yes.
In the future.
I feel like I'm in the future, and I feel like I'm against the T-1000.
Right.
Where I'm just being hunted down.
It's good, man.
It was so fun. It was so fun. And then I fell head first into it. I just loved fighting the automatons. I just love that vibe.
Oh yeah.
I love a few of the planets, like the atmospheres. I loved it feels so much like an actual war zone in a way. Yeah. The weapons are cool.
Oh yeah.
The bot varieties, like they have like the different armor types and
the tanks.
Oh, the tanks are awesome.
The gunships we just recently found out.
Oh
about.
yeah.
Oh man.
I love the fact that like the Hulks.
Oh yeah.
They look
fucking AT-AT.
They look so much like 40K dreadnoughts. They got no head, little like arms, if
chunks,
if even arms, just weapons for arms, and they got little stubby legs that can they can move so much faster than you would imagine.
Oh yeah, they haul ass.
And I'm like, bro, what the huh? they just got like a visor, like a little slit for an eye, and you're like, yeah, that's definitely a dreadnought from 40K.
Yeah,
It's cool, and I love it, and it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm. It's a fun game.
I unlocked some really cool armors.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, I feel cool. You know, I got a cape, and I'm like, dude, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just unlocked something called a quasar cannon.
Oh,
like,
dude,
hell yeah.
that thing is fantastic.
Oh yeah, started shooting shit out of the sky. It was a lot of fun. I hit a Hulk square in his visor, knocked him out one shot. I was like,
it's perfect. Yeah. This is what I needed.
This is what I needed. Now, obviously, I don't think I'm going to keep it as like my regular kit. It's nice. I think having one in a squad is nice, but my auto cannon, I think,
as long as somebody's got a hefty weapon.
Yeah, my auto cannon, I think, was a little more versatile that I was able to use for some of the more smaller, quote unquote, smaller of the big guys, the walkers.
Works well with light vehicle armor,
and the devastators and stuff like that. So, anyways. The reason why I brought it up is because, again, I the past few days I've been falling headfirst for it, and I've been loving it, and it's so fun and it's crazy. And the first few times I jumped into like some group missions with people were a bit not good because
kind of a rocky start
because I had nothing unlocked and I didn't know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So justifiably, I was kind of fumbling my way through the game.
Right.
But now that I have a feel for it and I kind of understand the kind of placement of things and where I am in the grander scheme of things, it's been a pleasant experience. And I've actually made 2 friends on the game that I kind of ran multiple missions with, where I was actually able to kind of, you know, do a little handshake emote, bonk heads,
make contact,
and be like, "Hey, we're friends."
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. So it's a lot
brothers
of fun.
in arms.
Yeah, and Ethan just purchased it. Which, I mean, I am not what I'm about to say. I'm not surprised in the slightest because this is the way Ethan operates. And if you're listening, Ethan, I mean, you know it, and I'm just going to out you. Ethan bought this game as of the time of this recording less than 24 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say he bought it this morning.
I think so, yeah. No, it was yesterday.
I'm still in the mindset of this being Thursday.
Pseudo yesterday.
So anyways, needless to say, I got a text when I woke up this morning that was like, "Hey, yo, I got Helldivers." And I was like, cool. I've been playing for the better part of a week, and I haven't grinded like super hard missions. I'm still having fun with the game. Yeah. I think it's challenging because of some of the stuff that I have unlocked. But now that I'm unlocking like the hard mode stuff, I'm gonna play some harder missions.
Right.
But I haven't grinded hard missions yet. Ethan has been probably playing for the better part of 12 hours.
And he's just been working exponentially.
And he worked exponentially upwards until he got to hard or extreme.
To suicide mission.
Hard or extreme, and then just started grinding hard missions, apparently. And I was like, well, frick me then, I guess. And then so I got to level 17. And whenever I jumped on this afternoon, he was already level 15. Yeah. And I was like, shut up. How? At the same time, I'm like, I know how. Ethan is. Ethan will obviously go towards the hardest, hard thing. And then, of course, just grind his way through it until he's like, I'll either figure out this game or I'm going to die trying. And I'm like, cool. That's not how I am. I want to have fun with the game I'm playing. And then I maybe will find some challenge later.
Right.
But anyway, so that was wild. So Ethan now has the game. Friend of the show, Cade, has the game now too.
Oh, yeah.
He got it this afternoon.
Everybody's got the game.
Chase got it a couple days ago.
John and Kobe have it.
So John and Kobe have been having it. Well, I'm late on the uptake.
Right, they're veterans.
But yeah.
It's real fun.
And I'm excited about it. I'm excited that we have a whole team of people that are actually playing a game for once.
Oh yeah.
Because again, that doesn't happen very often in this day and age. Because of how many new games are happening, and everyone has their own specific game they want to play. I can't tell you how hard it is for me specifically, who is a person that focuses on one game for 6 months. How hard it is to find either people to play with or to try and convince friends in our friend group to play a game with me all together.
Yeah.
So right now it's a moment like this where I'm like, the planets have aligned.
Right.
It is now time to cash in, start up the ritual, because now like everyone is here.
The time is now.
The seance is happening. Everyone is here. It's time to summon everyone together. We're all going to play Helldivers for maybe 3 days, maybe a week, and then no one will play it again. And I'll be stuck on it for another 3 months. And will not. Don't you say that because you know it's true.
I still got updates coming down the pipeline for Grand Blue. So.
I know you're right. You're right.
Right.
I've been playing some other games as well to kind of supplement that a little bit. I have been having fun. I took a bit of a back seat on Grand Blue. I need to get back into it, but at the same time, I kind of have fallen in love with Helldivers, and I'm probably going to be stuck on that for a while. And I just know I'm not going to get my hopes up.
Right.
I'm going to ride this train out for as short of a time it's going to be, where we're all going to play at one time. And then I know, I mean, as quick as this whole thing started of all of us playing, it is quickly going to flash out, and I'm going to be alone playing that game again. So I'm just going to keep my head down and have fun while I can. And then when it all comes crumbling down, I'm alone again. It's going to be like, that's fine. I expect this to happen. Everything's going to be okay.
We'll see.
So anyways, the reason why I'm confident in this, because this is not, I don't know if you know this or not, this is not the first, second, third, or fourth time this has happened to me. So I just, it's one of those things where like there's a game that comes out, everyone plays it for a hot minute, we all jump on the bandwagon, and then I ride that wagon until it stops rolling.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I'm usually the last one.
Back on the road again.
I'm the only one on the dusty trail. Everyone's like, where's the rest of the crew? And it's like, my all just left.
Right. They're gone.
They all died of jaundice, and
They got dysentery.
They got dysentery. And
Lumbago.
They got lumbago.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I tried to keep them together as long as I could.
Slow and painful death, my brother.
They all got boot rot. Yeah. So, anyways, it's yeah, have a fun time with it. If anybody out there wants to join, I mean, you know where to find me.
Right.
My name's Ian Wolf. You can, I mean, I'm not gonna hide myself. You can search me up.
I am.
Well, I mean, you're always hiding. You're always lurking. I
got my own my corners.
Yeah,
that I like to stay in.
But anyways, speaking of being able to reach out, I mean, like I said, obviously I'll be you can find me in Helldivers.
You know
Wolf. You know where I'm gonna be. The big call to action that I've been asking everyone to do, because it's been so fun to see people connect and people reach out in different ways because of it.
Should you so choose?
Is the YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/@Hindsight Studios, or just type in at Hindsight Studios in the search bar, and you should be able to find the channel there. Go ahead and give it a subscribe, like the videos, like whatever video that you're like it if you like it.
Do whatever you want.
Don't if you don't don't be like that.
Right.
And then give us a comment. Again, if you especially on this episode, I'd be like throw out another suggestion for what you want. We got one person in there that's been hyping us up, and I'm having a fun time interacting with them. It's been a fun time, and I appreciate their suggestion. And yeah,
that's about it.
That's about it. Have fun.
Yeah.
Go
dive.
Go do your part.
Kill bug.
Welcome to hell, soldier. Yeah. But until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See you.
Bye-bye.